Hi everybody, my name is Quinn. Thank you for clicking on this video and welcome to my channel. I am a little bit late, but it is October 4th, so I wanted to do a October TBR. I haven't done a TBR since it's for 3 years because I used to have a Bookstagram account. I don't anymore. Well, technically it's still up, but I don't use it anymore. It's under a different name because people are mean when you say you don't like their favorite books, and I was only 17 and I was like, you know what, it's fine. So I'm no longer on that account, but that's why I stopped doing them. There's not really a reason to do a monthly TBR if you're not on like Bookstagram or like Book Internet or like have like a book journal. Like, at least for me, I never found a real reason to do that outside of those reasons. So because of that, I did want to, now that I'm doing this channel, bring back doing monthly TBRs. I think it could be very fun to do like a video at the beginning of the month that talks about what I want to read, and a video at the end of the month which talks about what I did end up reading. So yeah, let's get right into it. So I'm gonna start with the books that I have to read for school because I have to read them, and so I know I'm gonna read them. The first book that I have to read is for my gender studies class, and that is Blood Relations, which I don't actually have a copy of, and I have no idea what it's about. I think it's like plays, but again, I don't have a copy of it, digital or physical yet, so I don't know for sure, but I will put it up here if I can find a photo. So yeah, I have no information about that. I don't know how long it is, I don't know anything. But the first book that I have a copy of is also for my gender studies class, and that is Fall on Your Knees by Anne Marie MacDonald. It is historical literary fiction. Follows four sisters who live in Canada, but they are from the this is set in the first half of the 20th century, so like 1900 to like 1950, give or take. I'm on page like 85 of like 550, so I have like read a decent chunk, but not a lot. I am very much enjoying it so far, even though it's not it's not the kind of book I would typically pick up, but I did enjoy it, or I have enjoyed it thus far at least. The next book I have to finish in October is for my Women in Lit class. Jane Eyre by Charlotte Bronte. I am not looking well, I am kind of actually looking forward to it. I don't know how I'm gonna feel about it. I know I'm not gonna like what happens. The question is, am I gonna love to read it, to hate it, or am I just gonna hate it? I'm going in with an open mind. I always go into books with an open mind. Even books that I know for sure that I am going to dislike, I still want to give books the benefit of the doubt. So if I dislike this book, it's not because I primed myself to dislike it, it's because I dislike it. That makes sense. Like, my best friend read this, she's like, you're not gonna like it. And I'm like, okay. But I have to read it, so. I do think I will love to hate it though. Those are books I have to read for school. I do think I have like 1 or 2 books I have to read by like the very beginning of November, but I'm not sure what they are, and so I'm not counting them until next month. But I did also want to start reading like some more classics, probably just like a single classic a month, because I do enjoy reading classics. However, I hardly ever pick them up. I forget to pick them up. So I want to try reading a single classic a month and forcing myself to do that. So I have 2 classics that I might want to read. Whichever one I don't read this month, I will probably end up reading next month. So I think the more likely one that I'll read is Wuthering Heights by Emily Bronte. I think it'd be fun to read it around the same time that I read Jane Eyre. So I do have a physical copy of this back at my parents' house, so I might pick it up during reading week, which is in the middle of October when I'm going home, but I don't know yet. Stay tuned. The other one that I might read is Picture of Dorian Gray by Oscar Wilde. big fan. I've read about 40 to 50 pages of this book, but I started reading it right before I moved up to Canada from the US. So I was moving countries, so naturally kind of didn't read for a bit, but that's why I stopped reading it. But I did enjoy it thus far. I just never picked it back up. So I also want to try and read a nonfiction book. After I read The House of My Mother by Sherry Franke, which is a fantastic book if you are interested in memoirs about people who've been through shitty things. Big fan. I think she's a fantastic novelist. I think she's a fantastic writer, and she has a lot of important things to say. Speaking of important things to say, the nonfiction book, I got it a week ago. I have been so interested in reading it for months though, and that is Perversion of Justice, the Jeffrey Epstein story by Julie K. Brown. For those of you who don't know, Julie K. Brown is the journalist who broke the Epstein story back in 2019. It was 2019, right? Not 2018. It might have been 2018. Pretty sure it's 2019. And this book sort of follows not only his crimes and his actions, but also her, I believe, it is also her uncovering and investigating him and all of his crimes and interviewing people and sort of writing, like the process of discovering who he was and writing the expose. So yeah, I am super interested in reading this, even if I don't finish it this month, because I am not typically that big of a fan of nonfiction, and it is a bit of a chunky book. It is like 450 pages. 432 pages. So it's definitely not like going to be a super quick read or anything, but I want to try and get at least a decent chunk of the way through this month. That leads to the books that I know for sure I'm going to make videos on. And this is what I meant when I said even if I know I'm not going to like a book, I go into it with an open mind, because I don't think it's fair to be like, I'm not going to like this book, and so or I know this book has toxic elements, because then you're going to just keep reading into everything. I think an example of the fact that I'm able to sort of not do that is Fourth Wing. I knew I was not going to like it. I ended up liking it a lot more than I thought I was going to. I thought it was going to be like a 1-star book. It was, I would say, a 3-star. There's a lot of problems with it. I have many a thought. I will probably do a video eventually about it, because I have so many thoughts. But at the same time, it's not, I didn't hate it as much as I thought I would, because I went into it with an open mind. I think if I'd gone into it being like, I hate this book, sucks, I hate it, I would have not enjoyed it or liked it as much as I did. I did not like the second book. I haven't finished it. I was listening to an audiobook and I got almost the end and I was like, I just can't deal with that. But I only say this to preface that when I go into reading these or talking about these next books, I probably am not gonna like them, but I am not going in with like blind hatred or like everything about this book is gonna suck, because I don't think that's fair. So first book I picked up at a discount store for like $5, and that is Verity by Colleen Hoover. I do feel confident in saying that the only reason I will finish this book is because I want to make a video about how much I don't like it, and I'm only a chapter in. Sorry, I am technically on this second chapter, something like that. Yeah, page like 25. It took me like 3 hours to get through that first chapter, because at the end of like every page I was like running out to talk to my roommate about how much I hated it. And I was not going in. I was not expecting to dislike it like from the get-go. I'm like, okay, but even then, again, I go into it very much open-minded, and I hated this more than I thought I would. And we haven't even got to the part that I know I'm going to hate more. So, yeah, that one I know I dislike. But again, if you like it, that's your choice. Maybe don't listen to me. Don't watch my video about it on the other channel. And then also the Twilight Saga. I would love to be able to read all of them this month, but I doubt it. But I do want to try at least to finish at least the first one, to make a video on it. But I might just end up waiting until the end of the month to do this, or I might wait until December. so that I can do like all of them back to back and do like a series, read and discuss them. Yeah, and so now we're getting books that I just like am going to read. There might be a reading vlog like on the my other or there might be a reading vlog that features them, but I don't know. I'm not planning to do necessarily any video on my other channel, which is Frayed Pages, which is my let's sit down and talk, and for like a more scripted, serious video for like 2-3 hours about a book, either that I love or that I hate. I don't anticipate necessarily doing a video on most of these beyond a typical reading vlog. So I want to read I want to try to read a Dark Academia book this month, but I'm not sure that I will get around to it. But whichever of these two that I show, I probably will only read one, but I don't know which one. So the first is Gifted and Talented by Olive Blake, and the second is Babel by R.F. Kuang. Big fan of The Poppy War. I have not finished the second or third book in that trilogy because the first book emotionally just like it sent me in a 3-month reading slump. Okay, like it was so good, but I was like I can't. But I think I could probably go ahead and read that. Maybe I'll do that later next month or something, and finish up that series. But big fan of her writing. I think she has a very matter-of-fact like style of writing, and I very much appreciate that. As much as I love a good prose moment, also like flowery prose, having like typical matter-of-fact, here's the information you need, is also, I think it makes her writing quite distinct. Yeah, so for Olive Blake, I read the Atlas 6 and part of the Atlas Paradox. I think the only reason I finished the Atlas 6 was because I was listening to it on audiobook while I was completely redoing my room back home. I don't think I would have finished it otherwise. I think that it was, there was something just not clicking for me, which is fine. But I am interested in this because I really resonated with the gifted, what was it? On the pipeline from gifted kid to clinically depressed adult, nobody wins, but which Ren will come out on top? I was like, I want that. That's me. Gifted kid to clinically depressed adult. Except I have bipolar disorder, anxiety, OCD, ADHD, and autism. Great. Love my life. It's fantastic. The next one that I think I will maybe wait till next month, but I don't know. Depends on what I read this month. But that is A Treachery of Swans by A.B. Poranek. I am so sorry. I'm not good at pronouncing things. But all I know about this really is that it's a queer retelling of Swan Lake. I thought it was interesting. It's been a while since I've read a YA fantasy book, or just a YA book in general. I typically only read YA fantasy if I read a YA book, but once I found that I could find a lot of more books without romance in them when I read adult fantasy rather than YA fantasy, I did really just almost just immediately stop reading YA fantasy beyond a couple of authors that I really, really liked. But I do love a good YA when it happens, or when it comes to me. So whatever. And it's absolutely no shame if you are somebody who likes YA and are my age. I feel like I grew out of it, but that doesn't mean that you did or you have to. I just did. But yeah, I am super excited to read that. So this next one, I'm already about 35 to 40% of the way through the book. I love it so much. I want to be able to sit and savor the book. So that's why, because I read it at the very, very end of August, very beginning of September, right before school started. And I found that I could only, read a couple, 2-3 chapters at a time, but I couldn't like sit and really savor the novel the way that I wanted to. So I stopped reading until I had the chance to do just that, where I can just sit in the novel, because I love it so freaking much. I think it's one of my all-time favorite books and that is Bury Our Bones in the Midnight Soil by V.E. Schwab. I picked this book up on a whim, actually. I've read 3 other V.E. Schwab books, Vicious, Vengeful, and The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue. They were both solid, like 4-star books. There was nothing wrong with them. They just weren't like super standout. These are the best books ever. I did very much appreciate reading Vicious because it was the first book I ever read with an asexual protagonist, main character representation, and it was shortly after I had come out, and so it very much, I felt seen for that to be confirmed in the second book, which I guess is Vengeful. But like, again, other than that, there wasn't anything that made it like super stand out, but I did enjoy the writing. So I picked this up when I saw that they had it because it was 30% off and a signed copy. So I was like, of course might as well try it. Like, it's new, but we'll see how I feel. And then I was texting my best friend about it, and she's like, oh, the lesbian vampire book. And I'm like, it is the what now? Because I love me some vampires and I love me some lesbians, so let's put them together and make it lesbian vampires, and it's my favorite thing ever. So that is what this book is. I mean, it's so much more. It's definitely to me, it's very much blending that line between upmarket and literary, in terms of it's kind of content wise, but it is it is also still fantasy, and that's my favorite, is if you can find me a novel that is both fantasy and like literary. I love it. I love it. It's so good. I'm very much enjoying it. But I think I'm gonna read it during reading week, which is coming up soon. It's coming up soon, and that way I can sit and savor it. Then I have 2 books that I would love to be able to reread if possible, but I don't know if I'm going to be able to get around to it, and those are A Dowry of Blood by S.T. Gibson and Carmilla by Joseph Sheridan Fano. I always combine his first 2 names. Like Joseph and Sheridan always become Jordan. I don't know why. Big fan of both of these books. This super quick, 140-ish pages. Very much. I've already like annotated it, so there's nothing more to do. And then A Dowry of Blood was honestly like I was not expecting to fall in love with the book the way that I did. This is another book that is one of my all-time favorite books. I've read her other book, what was it? An Education in Malice, though I do think there's a 3rd book out now that she's written, but I didn't know where to find it. Anyway, and I liked An Education in Malice, but like nowhere near as much as A Dowry of Blood. But if you like vampires, you'll like it, in my opinion, if you like flowery prose. I also may read an audiobook. I don't know the author, but it's an autopsy of a fairy tale, which is like a Beauty and the Beast retelling, fantasy, romance, but also like a murder mystery thriller. I have no idea if it's gonna be like a super fantastic book or anything like that. It's not I typically like avoid anything that even says romance in the title, or in the genre, like when it says it's a romance, I'm like, nope, I'm good. But I am very much interested in how those all in how they're gonna be blended together. I think it'll be a really fun book, and I think the audiobook is only like under 8 hours, and I typically read anywhere from 2 to 2.5 time speed, so it's like what, 4 hours maybe. So I think it'll be something that I could listen to when I'm like commuting and stuff, to school and to work and everything. Listening to that could be just like a fun experience. Nothing too serious. So those are, I think, 18 books altogether, that I may or may not read. But yeah, let me know if you have read any of these books, if you like them, what your thoughts are, and whether any of these books are on your October TBR, or any books on your October TBR that you think I should read. And I will see you next video. Bye!